Hey, the bailiff can call the case at any time.
Okay, please call the case.
Good morning, Your Honors. The matter before the court this morning is the case entitled Samantha Freda v. Joshua Cunningham, case number 25AP224. Appellant Samantha Freda is self-represented. Appellee Joshua Cunningham did not participate in this appeal and is not present.
Thanks very much, and good morning, Miss Freda. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Good morning, Your Honor.
All right, and we can hear you. You understand you have 5 minutes?
Yes,
And when you have about a minute left, we'll try to give you a warning. So if you would, please go ahead and start now.
sure. Good morning, Your Honors. This appeal concerns the Wyndham Family Court's ruling on motion to enforce a March 2025 order. That order was issued after the court found intentional refusal by the appellee to use our parenting app that we've been communicating in for some time, and it was not enforced when that same conduct resumed after the March 2025 entry. Point number one, the March 2025 order was clear. It required that all co-parenting communication and phone calls with our child happen in the Talking Parents app. It explicitly allowed text messages only in emergencies, and it stated that that should be rare. Point two, chronic documented violations both before and after the March 2025 entry. Immediately after the March order, the appellee stopped using the Talking Parents app consistently. Messages were viewed and ignored for periods of up to 9 weeks at a time, while the appellee continued to contact me by phone, text, and email for non-emergencies, and it quite regularly, almost a few times a week. It was certainly not rare. Point number three is the failure to enforce. In my motion to enforce, I filed many pages of showing how the appellee both viewed and ignored my co-parenting business for several weeks at a time while texting me and emailing me and calling me for things that are not emergencies. Those are all in violations of the order. The While this was in process, I forget where it was, but I had also filed evidence that the appellee has not allowed me to call my child, our child, in since February of 2025. In the entry to my motion to enforce, the entry didn't enforce its own order while minimizing repeated violations and failed to apply equal standards to us. It also issued vague and contradictory new orders, leaving the very simple 2025 order even more unclear and has caused confusion for us. And it's also emboldened the appellee to continue to violate the order in both the ways that I had to, that caused me to motion to enforce in the first place, as well as other ways that are outside the scope of what we're here to talk about today. And I still have not been allowed to call my child since February of 2025. I filed all of that, like that initial, the proof of my calling and him not answering, as well as him calling and me answering per the court order and what is like right to provide the other parent with access to the child when she's with me. But he's not doing that in return. It's been almost a year now. And with that evidence, the court didn't even acknowledge that and instead issued what seemed, I don't know if this is the right word, but just sort of like flippant response to that, like just like get it together, figure it out. This is a very high conflict co-parenting situation. There is very little like reasoning and lots of like withholding being used, both communication with child as well as communication with me, as like a power and control thing. So that's, you know, just figuring it out is not something that we can do. We very much need very clear rules from the court, and we need them to be enforced. And that hasn't happened in this case, which is why I'm appealing. The enforcement entry states that the motion was both granted and denied without specifying what relief was granted or denied, and creating unclear work order. So the relief that I'm requesting is respectfully requesting to reverse the entry on my motion to enforce and remand instructions to clearly enforce the March 2025 communication order, and to acknowledge the court's failure to address the repeated violations of which I've shared proof of, as well as withholding phone calls from me. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I don't see any hands, so appreciate your arguments. Please call a conclusion of the hearing.
The next hearing for the court will be at 11:30